Thank you, and welcome to our 34th annual Christmas concert. We wound up with actually I think the weather's changed since I came in. It had been a very beautiful day and a great day for a concert. We opened up with something that's new for us. Here we come, a Carolyn, which is a great arrangement by Rob Romaine. And he includes the folk song All Through the Night, which was very pretty in the middle there. We're going to continue with some beautiful French music. This is the composer, thank you, César Franck, who was an organist in Paris and choir master. And you will definitely hear in this piece that it would be composed for organ. It sounds very organish, if that's a word. But it's a beautiful piece of music, very reflective, and we invite you to be reflective and think of whatever inspires you at this time of year, whatever holiday you celebrate. It was written for the Roman Catholic Mass, but I think it's a beautiful piece of music, regardless of any religious affiliation. This is Pius Angelicus. Perkins, who's a composer whose works we've done before. His work usually runs more on the classical side, but he conceived that wonderful arrangement of those 5 songs from The Wizard of Oz. And he's such a master of orchestrating and making it sound so lush and beautiful. So we're glad you enjoyed that. Oh, and we want to acknowledge the great tuba solo by Ryan Main. Thank you for Ryan. We're going to continue. We'll let the musicians catch their breath for a minute. That was a long one. We would like to thank our sponsors, the Music Performance Trust Fund, administered through the American Federation of Musicians, Local 173 in Fitchburg, the Leominster Cultural Council through a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council, and I want to send a special shout out. I don't know if there's anyone from the Cultural Council here today, but we noticed when we were here rehearsing last Monday night that our picture, or a picture of us performing at Carter Park, is on the Cultural Council's brochure. So we take that as an honor that they seem to be as proud of us as we are to have their grants. So thank you. And also to the City of Leominster through Mayor Dean Mazzarella's office. So Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for giving us an indoor home in which to do this performance. And we would like to especially thank the Mayor's assistants, Michelle Nadeau and Kelly Woodland, for coordinating all the necessary logistics that allow us to be here. And believe me, the logistics are many and they're a bit complex. And on our side, those are handled by our band manager, John DeChico, who always deserves a shout out. And I won't bore you with the details, but he went through a lot of them to make today happen. So thank you, John. We continue. With the music of Maurice Ravel. It's no secret that I'm fond of the French composers, and Ravel is one of the ones of which I'm particularly fond. You'll probably recognize this music from the movie 10, if you're old enough to remember that movie. It starred Dudley Moore and featured this work prominently. And this is an arrangement for band by Frank Erickson. This is Maurice Ravel's Bolero. gets so dry in winter. So, hi Blair. This next piece is a traditional American folk song that you all recognize called Turkey in the Straw. And it's a particularly fun arrangement because it's somewhat amusing. And I thought we would add to the amusing factor by adding an instrument that is seldom seen anymore, and that is a bass saxophone. Is there anyone who's ever seen a bass saxophone? Yes, really? Wow, I'm impressed. Gee, I thought I was going to be teaching you all something new, and some of you have seen it before. I have as well, not just me. Just one of the many old... yeah, the bumper, the weight conformed. So we're going to teach you a little bit about the saxophone family. We don't have a soprano sax to show you today. That's the smallest one. It looks a lot like a clarinet, except it's made of brass. It's straight, except in some rare configurations. The alto saxophone, Lou, would you mind showing us the alto saxophone? That's the next one down in the saxophone family. After that, we have the tenor, that Judy's holding. Is that for Judy or for the saxophone? And then the next lower one after the tenor is a baritone sax, which we also don't have today. The bass is at the bottom of the saxophone family, and without the case, which we couldn't fit on stage even if we wanted to, the bass sax weighs 40 pounds. Now, when I go to Home Depot and get a bag of sand, that's 40 pounds. So imagine wearing that around your neck. So Blair has gotten possession of a bass saxophone to use today, and is doing us a great favor by sharing it with us. And he even, reconditioned it so it would be playable. They were very common in the 1920s. You would see Dixieland bands, the traditional jazz bands that would use them. And then they fell out of favor. I wonder why. But we thought it would add to the amusement to this piece, and you'll see why in a minute. This is Colonel Lou Buckley's arrangement. Lou Buckley was the commander of the U.S. Coast Guard band down in Groton, Connecticut for years. He's retired now, so he's got time to write arrangements. And he did a good job on this one. This is Turkey in the Straw. So Blair, before you leave, we want to acknowledge the soloists on flute. We have Pat Darby, and I don't know if I can get out of the way so she can take a bow. And on bassoon, John Strain. And again on the bass saxophone, my friend from the New Liberty Jazz Band, and for many years the band director at Westford Academy, Blair Betancourt. Okay, we're going to conclude the first half of the performance with a wonderful arrangement. We've done it here before, but this one we can never get tired of. This is Michael Sweeney's wonderful arrangement of Music of the Beatles, and I'm not going to tell you what songs are in it because you're going to recognize them. At least I hope you will. If we do our job right, you will. This is Music of the Beatles. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the soloists, and if I miss somebody, shout. But we started with Sheldon Ross on trumpet. Sheldon. And we need to be out of order here, but Pat, you had it. No? Jean Paella had a solo. Jean, take a bow. Oh, of course. How could I have missed that? It was so beautiful. The solo on Yesterday by Lou Stavis. The tuba solo by Fred Bernhardt. All right, moving on. Oh, thank you. Well, this wasn't plugged all the way in. I do believe I see someone visiting from the north who's in the back of the hall. Let's bring him in with a great round of applause. Here's Santa Claus. Thank you. We'll be back for the second half. Enjoy the refreshments in the back of the hall, courtesy of the Friends of the Colonial Band. And we'll be back with more music. If you've ever heard the song, M is for the way you look at me, L-O-V-E, or Strangers in the Night. That last song, Jingo Jango, is by the same composer, German gentleman, late German gentleman named Bert Kaempfert, and he put that on his Christmas recording in around 1966 or so, and it's kind of a nice alternative to Sleigh Ride. We'd like to continue with one that is special for this concert. We've done it before, but it's particularly appropriate today because with this concert we close our year-long celebration of the music of Henry Mancini. Henry Mancini, had he lived, would have been 100 years old this year, and as far as I know, he wrote only one Christmas song, and it was used as the theme song for a film that was an independent film done by the United Nations in 1964 to promote global unity, something that we could use a little of today. And the movie was called Carol for Another Christmas. And the film was written by Rod Serling of Twilight Zone fame. And it was a twist on Dickens' A Christmas Carol. And it had a 20th century Cold War bent to it. It's quite a good film, and it's available on YouTube. I recommend it highly. There's no music in it, only at the beginning and at the end. And this is what you would hear. I almost forgot, while we're talking about, well, this isn't really an unusual instrument, but it's not one that you ordinarily see here on our stage. Our oboist, Debbie Henke, will be featured as a soloist on this piece, playing the English horn. And the English horn, can you hold up the oboe too so they can see the difference? So the oboe is on the right, and the English horn is on the left. And it's a longer instrument, it has a lower range, and it has a darker tone, which you will experience shortly. Carol for Another Christmas. This next one will be familiar to all the Italians in the audience. This is not really a carol, but it's a song associated with Christmas. This is Gesù Bambino by Pietro Ion. Ion was an Italian-American organist born in Italy, studied in Turin and Milan, graduated from the prestigious Academy of Santa Cecilia in Rome in 1905. He served as a staff organist at the Vatican and eventually immigrated to the U.S., became a U.S. citizen, and in 1926 he accepted an offer from St. Patrick's Cathedral to become their choir master and organist. In this role, he played for some of the most notable Catholic events in New York City, including the wedding of Henry IV II, and the funerals of Broadway composer George M. Cohan, Yankees owner Jacob Rupert, and business tycoon Clarence Mackay, who was the father-in-law of Irving Berlin. He was active as a performer, giving many recitals throughout the country, and he was given the post of honorary organist at the Vatican. Among his students was American composer Paul Creston, and Pietro Ion passed away in November of 1943. But this is probably his most remembered and most popular work. A New York Times account, it was composed in 1917, and a New York Times account of a 1919 performance of this piece by Ion states that it is, quote, founded on an authentic nativity folk song of the mountaineers of the Aosta Valley, which is contrapuntally utilized with Adeste Fideles as a background. And Adeste Fideles, of course, is O Come, All Ye Faithful, and I think you'll hear it. So this is Gesù Bambino. I'm frequently asked, when do you start? How much in advance do you have to plan for this performance? And I always say, it never stops. Because, and it really is true. I'm always searching for new music to bring in, because there's only so many Christmas carols, right? There's only so much music that's associated with Christmas. And we do this concert every year for 34 years, times 12 pieces. It's hard not to repeat. But we there are new things, but there are also old things that don't really get resurrected or have been lost to time. And that's one that we're going to feature today. I discovered this year that this next piece, Santa Claus Blues, was written 100 years ago this year. So in 1924 it was written. And it was recorded at the time by traditional jazz bands, Dixieland, New Orleans type bands. And it's been kind of a subculture standard ever since. But the only people who knew it were New Orleans musicians, traditional jazz fans. It's really been lost to time. But it's a very endearing song. And we won't be doing the lyrics, but I've asked Joe Pisano Jr. to be the guest soloist on this arrangement that I made of Santa Claus Blues. It's composed by Gus Kahn and Charlie Strait. And this is our version, Santa Claus Blues. arrangement, it should be noted, is by Jay Dawson, who is down in the south, I think in Tennessee. He's a great writer. Before we leave you today, we want to thank you again for attending. Thank our sponsors, the Music Performance Trust Fund, administered through the Local 173, American Federation of Musicians in Fitchburg, Leominster Cultural Council through the Massachusetts Cultural Council, the City of Leominster, Mayor Mazzarella's office, and thanks to all those people. I would like to introduce the musicians who entertained you today. These are the finest you'll find in this area, and dedicated professionals. And I am vastly proud to be standing in front of them today, always. On the clarinet, from left to right, we have Jerry Vabulas, Joe Pisano Jr. In the second row, Bill Williams, Phil Darby, Bernie Marceau, and Sharon DeChico. On bass clarinet, Mary Kate Bourne. And well, let's do the flute section. From left to right, we have Pat Darby, Hannah Bitterman, and Sue Gagnon. Behind them, the saxophone section, we have from left to right, left to right, we have Judy Piamarini and Steve Dauphiné and Lou Stamus. In our double reed section, and I hope you can see them, I make a better wall than a window. But we have Debbie Henke on oboe and English horn, who you have met earlier, and sort of behind her is John Strain on the bassoon. In the French horn section over here, we'll go from left to right. We have Sophia Newell, Carol Savage, and Jean Paella. Next to Jean on the string bass is Stefan Arsenault. Next to Stefan is our baritone horn player, Charlie Leach. And next to Charlie, we have our tuba players, Fred Bernhardt and Ryan Main. And next to them, continuing down the row, on trombones from left to right, Dan Walker, Ken Anderson, and Dan Johnson. In our trumpet section, in the back there, going from left to right, you've already met John DeChico, our band manager. Next to John is Rick O'Leary. Next to Rick is Phil Nurmi, and then Rick Anderson. And next to Rick is someone playing with us for his first time today, Sheldon Ross. And in the percussion section, let's see, from left to right, we have Evan Pinsino. Did I say it right? I don't know why I struggle with that every year. Next to Evan on the drum set, who shined on that last one, Jason Sharon. Next to Jason, we have Chris Uwinski, and at the far right, we have Nolan LeClaire, who plays the hell out of the mallets, and he's still in high school, right? Yeah. He's a fine musician. We want to remind you that, we want to thank, I didn't do this, we want to thank the sponsors who are listed on the program. They increase every year, and the increase in the sponsorship to make all kinds of things possible. You can't see it up here, but we have a beautiful glockenspiel, very high quality one. Thank you. You can hear that high quality. That was made possible by your donations. Music that was made possible by your donations. The very first song that we opened with today was one that we were able to purchase with funds that come from your donations. So thank you to those who've donated in the past. If you haven't donated, you can join the club. There are several ways you can do it. We have a portal set up on our website, thanks to my son John. Is he up there? Yeah. There he is. So you can give online at colonialband.org, or you can send a check to our mailing address, which is 193 North Main Street in Leominster. Checks are gladly accepted. But we're very glad that you joined us here today. We hope you'll join us in the summer when we're at Carter Park doing our outdoor concert series. And we'd like to leave you with a composition, well, it's not really his composition, but his arrangement of a series of Christmas carols. He calls it Holiday Bells and Brass. I'll never read my writing if I don't put my glasses on. You'll hear God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, Angels We Have Heard on High, Coventry Carol, and Ding Dong Merrily on High. This is David Schaefer's Holiday Bells and Brass, and we bid you farewell until next year.